welcome to the Ring Post Daily Podcast. You are listening to myself, Jesse Henrik, Joey Hudson, and our guest today, we have Mr. Big Cousin Frank from TSW, Traditional Southern Wrestling. Unfortunately, Tyreek Ramsey is on assignment. How are you doing today, sir?
Doing good. You guys doing good?
Absolutely.
Doing great. Ready to get into the interview with Big Cousin Frank.
Oh, fantastic.
All right, sir. So if you just want to jump into it, how did you get into the business? Is kicking ass just a hobby of Big Frank, or does it put mud on the hogs?
It's a second income. Farms don't pay much money. So yeah, I do wrestling almost every weekend, Friday through Sunday. What got me into it was I was sitting there watching TV with my dad when I was a kid, and I looked over at him. I think it was Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels ladder match, if I'm not mistaken, WrestleMania 10. And I looked at Dad and I said, "Hey, I'm going to be a champion one day," and that's what started the dream. And then me and my buddy Joe went to a show. And I was young. I was in my 20s, and I looked at him and said, "Hey, I'm gonna try out." So I went to try out after the show was over, and I grabbed the promoter, and I didn't know he was the promoter at the time, and I showed him what I could do. Well, when I grabbed him, I backed him to the corner and slapped him across the face. So my introduction to wrestling was I slapped the owner in the face. And he said, "Yeah, you're going to be trained." So that's how it started.
That's a good way to get the foot in the door, slap the boss right in the face.
Yeah, what an
I
entrance.
slapped right across the face, right in front of everybody who was there.
Well, you said that you wanted to be world champion, and for my homework, you've held many tag team titles and world titles from other promotions. You're the current TSW Southeastern Kentucky champion, and you've been trained in Tennessee and Kentucky, I believe.
I've actually been to 16 different states.
Wow.
Right now, I'm just doing Kentucky and Tennessee. I'm fixing to go to Missouri here in a couple months. Possibly going to Alabama again. I just go wherever I hear my cousins calling, and I hear the cowbells ringing. I go. I tell you, I just love it. I love traveling. I love doing what I do every week.
So since you grew up as a wrestling fan, other than yourself, who is Cousin Big Frank's wrestling Mount Rushmore?
My Mount Rushmore. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking about this the other day. I would have to put Bruiser Brody.
Oh.
He was just phenomenal. He was so aggressive, and he knew how to keep the crowd into it. And he scared Lex Luger to death that one night in the cage. So he has to be on there. Dusty Rose, son of a plumber. Ric Flair has to be because he's just Ric Flair.
Right.
Then I would go probably Piper, the original heel. I mean, straight up, love Piper. Piper's work was awesome. And then I would have. That last one's so hard. There's so many guys that could be in it. I would say, why not the Hillbilly Jim?
Heck yeah.
There you go.
Inspiration.
No.
All right. That is definitely a list. We always love asking people what their Mount Rushmore is because it varies so widely. Because you can have people who strongly influence a character, and then you also have people that just come straight out of left field. Like you were talking about how you looked up to Razor Ramon and Ric Flair, and if you see Cousin Big Frank, those two characters, they wouldn't really pop out at you right away. But I definitely appreciate that those are influences on you.
Well, when the character Cousin Frank's first started, um, J.J. McGuire, rest his soul, he was a great man. He got me in touch with Hillbilly Jim, and I actually got endorsed by Hillbilly Jim as Cousin Big Frank. So that's how
Nice.
Cousin Big Frank was influenced by him.
So
That's
you guys
awesome.
are family then?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
All
I
right.
mean, he lives right, so
All right.
Heck yeah, go down to the Big Jim's place and chill out a bit.
I drank some iced tea and sit there and watch the cows.
Till the sun come down.
That's right.
All right. Well, then, I mean, if we're talking about how the Big Frank character came into existence, one question we have is how is the Cousin Big Frank character different from your earlier work with Monster Frank Vanover? Is it an evolution of the character, or are they just two completely different characters?
Two totally different. Totally different. The when I first started, I started off I didn't know who I was, and I was going through some dark times in my life, and I let that reflect in the character. I paint my face as like a skeleton or like some kind of weird monster, and I wasn't happy with myself. And then, I was like, I'm so tired of doing this. This is not me. And I'm not like, I couldn't keep living a lie. So I started talking, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do it. I'm going hillbilly. I'm a true hillbilly. I like to hunt. I like to fish. I'm in a better spot in my life, and the promoter was all for it. And I started thinking. I started doubting myself, and I was like, hillbilly gimmicks are pretty much comical and everything, but my buddies, Jonathan Barnes and Russell Ryan, they kept talking to me, and they was like, hey, do it. You can make it yourself. And that's what I did. I do Cousin Frank, and that's me. I am legit what you see in the ring, what you see at the shows, what you see at Walmart, because I get people running to me at Walmart wanting pictures. Just wherever I'm at, that's me.
Impromptu autograph signings in the parking lot?
Dude, I went to pick people up from work and have literally sold merchandise out of my car and signed autographs and taken pictures with kids. So it's crazy. Like, no matter where I go, I wear camouflage all the time. I'm just a big country boy, and I got pictures on me all the time, and you never know when you're gonna run into a little cousin. That's why I call my fans my little cousins.
Well, see, there's nothing wrong with that because, people like Stone Cold started off as the ringmaster and he had to find himself. Undertaker in his younger days was the Punisher, had to find himself. So a lot of wrestlers' first gimmicks may not stick. But eventually, once you find your footing between the ropes and backstage and all that, a lot of times that's when wrestlers think, I can do something better than what I'm doing. So,
Oh yeah.
but your first character and all that, that's nothing to look down on because those are the roots of what Cousin Big Frank is today.
Yeah, I mean, I went through 5 different gimmicks in 11 years before I found Cousin Frank.
Hey, Mick Foley did 3 gimmicks at once, so.
Yeah.
So, since you are the current TSW Southeastern Kentucky champion, what would you say is something in your career that you want to accomplish in 2023?
Well, I'm currently with School Morton, and I'm down there, Rock and Roll Express, Ricky Morton, WWE Hall of Famer. I'm down there, and I'm part of a group, the Doolies. I think our goal this year is to win the School Morton Tag Team Champions. That would be a major accomplishment to me because I grew up watching Ricky Morton. That was like my childhood local hero, that was a guy that, if they was in Barville, Kentucky, I was there. If they was in Corbin, Kentucky, I was there. Just to say, hey, I've won the School Morton Tag Team Championship would be awesome. Other than that, man, I just want to visit new places, meet new people.
Well, that's got to be something to watch these people growing up, and then you end up getting like trained by their school and stuff when you get older. Like, if anyone out there was to want to start a wrestling career, that's like a dream come true type of story that you could definitely tell them and inspire them to want to keep pushing.
Oh yeah, I mean like Ricky goes to his class, his school whenever he's in the area, so just to get the opportunity to hang out with Ricky Morton. And some of the other guys that, Tracy Smothers was a big influence on Cousin Frank too. Love Tracy to death. Just to hang out with those guys I grew up watching, you can't put a price tag on it. I mean, I don't care how many hogs you sell, you're never going to come up with the money to equal up what you get, what the experience you get from those guys.
All right. And now you obviously mentioned Ricky Morton. He just his rock and roll team just actually won the NWA Ultimate Team War on the last NWA Live, their first live episode. This isn't a question we had kind of had prior to this, but since you brought him up, is NWA kind of somewhere you could see yourself in the near future?
Hey, it's a possibility. I mean, like, you never know where I'm going to pop up. Yeah, I mean, I got friends, it's there, that I've watched, and, I shared locker rooms with. Yeah, NWA could be. I mean, you never know.
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to see you there. So then, we did mention the Southeastern Kentucky Championship a little bit ago. What can you tell us about that championship? Are you kind of aware of its origins? How does it really fit into you guys' card? Is it more for the work rate type people? Is it more of a sort of a world championship? Kind of tell us about it.
Oh, the Southeast Kentucky Championship is a mid card belt. It is like the Intercontinental title.
Okay.
It's a workhorse. You're constantly defending it. I mean, I won it when I won the title. I won it on a Friday night, turned around and wrestled again that next night in a cage against Ricky Knox. The night before, I wrestled 3 matches to win the title. So that tells you how much of a workhorse that belt is. I don't know the origins of it. I know it's got a pretty cool like bulldog on it, and it's a beautiful belt. I got it at the house that way because I don't like traveling with my belt because I don't want nobody to take it.
Oh, absolutely.
So
we've heard those stories before.
Oh yeah, man, I've seen it too many times. But
and we appreciate you taking the time out of your day to do this with us.
Oh no, you guys are fine. I'm fixing to hit the road, go to my next show, but yeah, the TSW title, it's a workhorse title, and I'll defend it anywhere against anybody. I don't care who you are. I'll give anybody opportunity. I don't care what kind of match it is. I was trained by different styles of wrestling. And I can do different styles of matches, but like I said, I'll defend that title against anybody, against anywhere. Just don't get me while I'm eating my biscuit and gravy. That's a no-no. So,
YEE-HAW.
Well, since you say that, and you say you'll defend your title against anyone, anywhere, that goes into our next question. Who would be your dream opponent and why?
Oh. Well, when I first started, it was Abyss. I've always wanted to wrestle Abyss. Now that I'm older and Abyss is kind of out of the question because he's with the WWE creative team. I would say Zodiac. Um, I when I was younger, I watched Zodiac, and now that I'm older and he's still wrestling, I'm still wrestling. I'd like to see, the two monsters from Kentucky go at it. It wouldn't be a big bad thing.
All right.
But I have a lot of respect for Zodiac. Zodiac he's a hard hitting guy. I'm a hard hitting guy. Like to see the two monsters from Kentucky. I'm the monsters from the hollows of Kentucky. He's just a monster. So yeah, I'd like to fight Zodiac. That's probably my dream opponent. Or AJ Kazana. AJ Kazana's another guy. I have fought AJ before at School Morton. I'd like to he just won the NWA.
Southern Gentleman.
Yeah, we actually go to Southern Pride Championship Wrestling together. We're in the same locker room, so I mean it could happen. Me and AJ. But yeah, AJ Kazana is probably another one that's on top of the list.
All right.
Some pretty good answers.
Yeah, no, definitely. So then, who are you most looking forward to wrestling this year? I know we kind of talked about your dream opponents, but who's kind of on the docket for Cousin Big Frank to kind of feud and rival with this year?
It seems like every year, me and PG the Wild Man, we end up crossing paths one way or another. So, I mean, most likely that's probably going to happen again. And normally when me and him hook up in any kind of match, we could have just a basic match. Something always breaks on one of us. So me and him's always going at it. Currently, I'm having a little issue with Johnny Slade. Seems like he's like a pimple. It just keeps popping up. I'm probably gonna meet him a few more times. Just wrestled him in the cage match before the end of the year. And then you got Travis Liddell, the bad guy himself. He's on my radar. He's a great worker. Just don't know when to shut up. But I see him. Man, there's just so many. If Brian O'Connor over there in Western Kentucky, if he sticks with it, I'd like to see him back in the ring. He ruptured my eardrum back at the beginning of December.
Oh.
Yeah, I got a boot to the side of the ear from a leg drop. So yeah, I'd like to see him again.
A little bit of vengeance.
Sounds like someone's got a receipt there.
Well, we've already done one match against each other, so I'm 2-0 against them. But the kid can work, so I like that challenge. I like that challenge, and it seems like the crowd likes it too. So.
All right, fair enough.
So, I guess my next question is: through your career, can you name a time in your career where you maybe wanted to quit or give up on this dream of yours, but you kept going and got where you are today because of that?
Yeah, it happens a lot. All the years I've done it, there's been a few times I just wanted to say, hey, I want to retire. I'm done. One of the big instances is when you go down to a place like School Morton. They like to push you. They don't matter how long you've been doing this. You pretty much have to start at the bottom and work your way up. So when I first started down there, I was getting kicked in the head every night, and I just felt like I was going nowhere. And then my good buddy Jonathan Barnes, he stayed right on top of me. He's a referee, but he stayed right on top of me and kept me focused. And I mean, look at me now. I'm a regular on the show. I'm on there almost every week. And then another time was when Russell's helped me out a lot. He's my guy that I call throughout the week if I need advice or anything like that. But I had surgery on my foot, and I was done. I mean, I pretty much gave up. And this was my second surgery on the foot, and it was because of a freak accident. I basically went to get out of the ring and like stepped down, and my foot just, I don't know. The doctor said it was like it exploded from the inside out.
Oh wow!
Oh wow!
So, yeah, and I was done. And Russell's like, "Do you really want to quit? Do you really want to quit?" And he just kept pushing me. So, but yeah, I mean, what happened was like I said, I got out of the ring. I mean, it's just I stood on the apron, stepped down, foot exploded from the inside out. I was in the hospital. Like, I didn't go to the hospital right away. I waited until Monday to go to the doctor. That happened on a Saturday night. Waited on the doctor, and as soon as I got to the hospital, it's like there's blood everywhere. My shoe, and everything was drenched.
Oh wow!
So, it wasn't bleeding the day before, so I didn't think nothing about it. I just knew it hurt really bad. Then, as I'm in the hospital, I was video chatting Russell, and he stayed on me. He kept my mind where it should be. So, I have to give a big shout out to those two for sticking with me and not letting me quit.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no, that's an amazing story, and the fact that you were able to come back after a freak accident like that. I mean, it goes to show that anything can be dangerous, even just stepping down. When it comes to wrestling.
I've dislocated my knee twice from actually stepping down from a lowboy ring, which is like a foot and a half, like not even a foot and a half off the ground ring, and just stepping down and the wrong way, and my knee just totally dislocate.
Really?
So
yeah, since you're talking about injuries, though, have you ever had an injury that maybe stopped a match, or?
I've had a couple of them that should have, but the way I was trained and the way I was pretty much beat when I was trained kept me from doing it. One time I was wrestling Super Assassin, and I picked him up. I shouldn't have picked him up, but I picked him up, and when he landed, his butt landed on my sternum, and he tore the cartilage in my sternum.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there and I can't breathe, and like I'm spitting blood, and that was my first match of 3 that night.
Oh my!
And then after the show was over, I drove myself to the hospital, and that's when I found out that, hey, yeah, it was serious. So there's been a couple times the match should have stopped, but I just kept going.
So, I gotta know something. When you have like an injury like this, and you take yourself or you're taken to the hospital, and they ask you how you hurt yourself, what is the response of them when when you tell them that you're a professional wrestler?
Well, the hospitals around me, they go, "What'd you do this time now?" But a lot of times, like, they look at you like you're stupid. Especially the time I went to go get my tooth pulled, because I hit a guy with a chair, and it hit him so hard that it bounced off and caught me in the mouth, and that's why I'm missing this tooth. So it came up and hit me, and I had to go to the dentist, and he's like, "How'd you lose your tooth?" I said, "From a chair." So, yeah, my local medical providers, they when I come, they're like, "Okay, what'd you do now?" So
that, sir, is what I call a true battle scar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's that's one I'm kind of proud of, but kind of not, because I mean,
So then, question would be then, when it comes to things like the sternum injury or the tooth and things like that, is would you still, going back knowing what you know now after getting those things evaluated, would you still finish those matches, or would you tell your younger self to no, get the hell out of there and go to your local medical facility?
you know, I don't know. I mean, that's why I'm cousin Frank. That's why I was, the living nightmare and the monster is I I have a high pain tolerance, um, and I was trained to keep going. So I was like pretty much built to keep going like a machine almost. Um, I don't know if I would, because some of those moments became iconic. I mean, how many people do you know picks their tooth up and puts it in their singlet? I mean, so I guess it's like Mick Foley. I mean, Mick Foley lived by his scars.
Yeah, McCoy lost his ear in
Absolutely.
the ring, and cousin Frank lost his tooth in the ring.
Yeah, I mean, my tag team partner Ricky Dooley, he lost his teeth almost the same way as I did. So both Dooleys have missing teeth. Um, I've got I got a scar that goes from one side of my mouth all the way across from a super kick. Um, I mean, that night I drunk blood pretty much the whole entire match, because it happened about midway through, and it was like a 20-minute long match.
So I
So
take it. So I take it one advice you would have anyone wanting to become a wrestler is have insurance.
yeah, have good insurance, good insurance, and don't be afraid to get hurt. Um, One of the biggest things that I see these days with the guys that come in is they think. In wrestling, you don't think, you just do. Um, you got to make it where it's natural.
Right.
So with injuries and stuff like that, you just let that primal instinct come in, and you know, be like a bull in a china shop.
All
Keep
right.
rampaging on.
Well, then, kind of piggybacking off that advice, we do like to ask people at the end of our pods, what is some advice you would give to someone trying to break into the industry? If they really wanted to make a go of in professional wrestling, what's sort of some advice you would give them?
The advice I would give is show up early. Um, Ask the promoters, what can I do to help you? Because you want to get on their good side. Um, don't set your standard high. When I first started, I had clean bathrooms and everything else. Um, keep going. Never think you're too good, because you're never. There's always going to be somebody better than you, which gives you the go of keep pushing. Uh, don't be afraid to tear down the ring and put up chairs, take down chairs. Um, that's the big issue. Is you get guys that's trained now. They think just showing up and paying whatever X amount of money is to train. They think they're paying their dues. It's not. You literally have to go in and put in the extra work, and that gets you noticed by veterans in the locker room, and the vets will put you under their wing, and they'll get you booked at other places, and that's how you get out. Um, so I mean, stay respectful, loyal. Um, One thing is when you get out there and you get done training, um, what I found out is it's not good to stay at one company. Try to branch out, because if you stay at one company, you become stale. You become like a stale bread, and it's just not worth it. You're worthless. Um, But be respectful is a big thing. I've been in a lot of locker rooms where they're not respectful, and they come in there thinking, "Hey, I'm going to win the title," and blah blah blah. Titles ain't nothing. I've won many titles, like you said earlier. Won them from the heavyweight title all the way down to the tag team titles, hardcore titles, mid card titles. You know, things like that. I've won them, and to be a people's champion is a whole lot better than being a champion where you wear a leather strap around your waist.
I like that.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly
So,
said.
I mean, don't be a belt mark, pretty much. And kids come in, I'm going to be champion. I'm going to be champion. No, you most likely not going to be with that attitude. And if they do put it on you, you're not going to keep it long. So be respectful. That's my biggest thing.
All right.
But you know, like you said too, you know, being the way you are about the business, other promoters and stuff, like the promoters and trainers, they will notice that about you. And when other companies or whatever want you to wrestle for them, that's when they'll say, like, you know, Big Frank here, he's not only respectful, but you ask him to tear down a ring, you want to mop a floor or anything like that, you know, he's one of the first people that will get to go and get to working on it. And to a lot of promoters and stuff, that is more valued than just stepping into the ring and doing your match and then leaving, you know? Like, so it seems like you got, like, the right mind process about it. And someone watching this who wants to be a wrestler in the future could definitely take that advice and maybe better themselves and their careers for that as well.
Yeah, if you're going to be there later, whoopity-doo. I mean, Waffle House is still open, okay, after the show's over.
As long as you can get your biscuits and gravy.
That's right. I mean, that's one of the big things is in wrestling is you ain't broke into the business until you spent like 2 o'clock in the morning eating Waffle House. But you have to put effort into it. It's just not paying dues is not paying money. Paying dues is trying to earn respect. I mean, Charles Robinson, he still tears down the ring and stuff at WWE. Brock Lesnar and Randy Orton, they was driving the truck with the ring in it for OVW. So,
well, what about ECW? Tommy Dreamer and all them, they were literally, when you bought an ECW shirt, Tommy Dreamer, Justin Credible, one of them guys was the one packaging it up and sending it to you. So even in those days when you think they're, you know, major superstar athletes, they were still doing work in the mail room and everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, when I first started, like when the guys would show up when I was in training, we wasn't in the ring. We was just, you know, putting the show up. We was required to go help carry their bags in. I mean, that's just a sign of respect because these guys paved the road for you to be able to do this. You don't see that no more.
Oh yeah.
At all.
And I mean, you want
a lot of times.
Oh, go ahead.
A lot of times is, you know, you drove around the vet pretty much. You, like, if he brought you along and said, "Hey, we got a show this weekend," you drove. You paid the gas and everything. Kind of happy that's changed a little bit because, you know, some of them drives are pretty far, but you like I said, once you get under a vet's wing, you start getting recognized by the vets. That's life becomes a whole lot easier.
All right. And I mean, if you want to talk about paying dues, this one might stump you guys. Does anybody know who Dusty Rhodes' roadie was? The guy who drove him around in the early days of his career, when he got real out to the top.
As big as a wrestling ultimatic that I am, I don't know that answer.
Yeah, this just came out in a recent not an interview, but a documentary. Ric Flair drove Dusty Rhodes around. He was his roadie for a while. That's in the new Ric Flair documentary that WWE just put out. And he tells the stories about going down the roads with Dusty, and it's like you know, obviously Ric Flair, I mean, he flew so close to his son, you could argue he was maybe a bigger deal than Dusty. And to think about how those two kind of, meshed in the business and this guy actually drove him around, that's nuts to me.
Well, like Big Frank said, it's all about paying your dues and, getting started.
And that's exactly what he was doing.
I wish people would drive me around.
Well, Frank, this has been an awesome interview, and
absolutely,
we appreciate you taking your time and doing this for us, especially right before you're getting ready for a show tonight. This is pretty much TSW month here, and we're really happy that we had you to start us off with TSW month.
Absolutely,
appreciate it.
And we want to wish you luck tonight in your match too.
I need that because I don't know who I'm wrestling, and we'll find out.
All right. Well, and in the spirit of finding out, can you tell our viewers where they can find you, sir? Are you on any socials? Where can they see you tonight?
Tonight I will be in La Follette, Tennessee, at the Sportatorium for SPCW, which is Southern Pride Championship Wrestling. You can find AJ Kazana's going to be there tonight. I reckon the Heat Seeker's going to be there. That's tonight. Doors open at 6 o'clock. I'll be there. You can find me on Facebook under Big Frank Vanover. You can also find me on YouTube. I got my matches on there. I try to put them wherever I go. I try to put a match on there. It's cousin Big Frank Big Frank. But yeah, that's the two places you can find me. You can also Google cousin Big Frank, and it'll bring up me there too. So
right.
Now, I am from the Corbin, Kentucky area, so I am not too far from you at all. I think next time you guys do a show in Lilly or near the area, just send me a message and let me know, and I'll definitely come out and check out a cousin Frank match.
TSW is supposed to be making their return March the 4th at Lynn Camp High School, which you said you're from Corbin, so you should know where that is.
All right.
I won't be there because I was previously booked in Cumberland, Kentucky. But give it a shout out. That's the TSW's first match, first show back. So March 4th, if you're in the area, come out and check them out. They're a great company.
All right.
Yeah. Do you know of a company? They were here in Corbin the last time they were in Corbin, it was about probably 2 years ago, but they're WWA.
Oh, yeah. The Waldells run that, yeah.
Yeah, that was first wrestling, like indie wrestling event. And, I had just as much fun at these wrestling events, these indie events. Like, I had just as much fun as I would a WWE or AEW event. So I recommend anyone, if you can get to a TSW show or a local indie show, I recommend going because it's just as fun.
To me, I'd rather watch an independent wrestling show because it's more fan. You get more fan interaction. They're in your face. It almost gets personal. I mean, like you cheer on that baby. That good guy. You want that good guy to win over that bad guy because he just talked about your mama. I mean, it's more in your face than
it feels more old school.
That I will say that in the states that I have been wrestling, it is more like the Smoky Mountain, the Memphis style wrestling like you saw back in the 80s. So I would encourage, if you don't know where a show's going to be, you can find a wrestler on Facebook, or you can go to the Kentucky Athletic Commission also, and they post the shows on there. They got an event calendar, so I encourage anybody that go check us out. I guarantee you're not going to regret it.
Well, I hope to see you at a TSW show because you'll recognize me with the big cousin Frank sign for sure.
Sounds good. I like that.
All right. Well, we have been the Ring Post Daily Podcast. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, and Instagram, all at Ring Post Daily. We are sponsored by our Patreon. Go to patreon.com, Ring Post Daily 316. I hope everybody has a great day. Goodbye.